The galaxy had grown accustomed to the quiet arrogance of its great empires. Star systems bowed to the authority of the Galactic Council, and even the whispers of rebellion were crushed under the shadow of fleets that could blot out suns. Yet, on the edges of known space, in a region the Council had long considered insignificant, there waited a single Terran warship, silent, patient, and unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. For centuries, humanity had been ignored. The Council viewed them as a young, fragile race, barely out of their own cradle, still fumbling with technology compared to the 1,000-year-old civilizations that span the stars. When humans requested entry into the Council, their plea had been met with laughter. When they asked for peace, they were offered terms that amounted to servitude. But humans had a habit of surprising their enemies. The warship Vanguard drifted quietly near the border of Council space. It was a massive, obsidian-black vessel, its hull covered in advanced stealth plating that bent light and radar alike. No sensor could track it unless the crew allowed themselves to be seen. Inside, Captain Adrian Holt stood before the main viewport, his jaw set, his hands clasped behind his back. "They're massing their fleet," his first officer, Commander Reyes, reported. 30 ships, maybe more. All Council warcruisers. They've sent us one last transmission, demanding surrender. Adrian's gaze didn't shift. They still think we're weak. They still think we don't belong out here. Reyes hesitated. "Do we respond?" "No," Holt said. His voice was calm, almost cold. "The Vanguard will speak for us." The Council fleet, led by the flagship Eternal Glory, approached in a glittering wall of metal and light. Admiral Karath of the Scythan species stood on his bridge, confident that victory was inevitable. "One Terran ship," he scoffed to his crew. "Their desperation borders on comedy. We will destroy them as a warning to others who challenge the order of the stars." To the Council, humanity was a primitive species, barely capable of warp travel, with no fleets worth mentioning and no colonies beyond their home system. What Karath didn't know was that while the Council dismissed humanity, humanity had been watching them, studying them, learning from them. Inside the Vanguard, every system was quiet. No lights blared, no alarms screamed. The crew worked in silence, their fingers dancing over holographic controls. They knew what this moment meant. Every second was a choice between survival and extinction. "Targeting solutions locked," reported Lieutenant Kara Winters from the weapons station. "Main rail cannons are charged. Quantum torpedoes are armed. Fire only on my command," Holt said. "We're not here to talk. We're here to end this." The Council fleet moved closer, confident in their superiority. Karatha's voice rang across the void, transmitted to every channel. "Terran vessel, this is your final warning. Power down your weapons and surrender. Defiance will only bring your extinction." There was no reply. On the Vanguard, the silence was absolute. The warship remained dark and still, like a predator waiting for the perfect moment to strike. "Admiral," said one of Karatha's officers nervously, "they're not responding, and their power readings don't match anything in our database." Karath dismissed the concern. "Fire at will. Show them what it means to defy the Council." The first volley from the Council fleet lit up the void. Hundreds of plasma bolts and rail slugs screamed across space. They tore into the empty region where the Vanguard had been moments ago. "Evasive maneuvers," Holt ordered. The Terran warship moved like liquid shadow, sliding between the gaps of enemy fire with impossible precision. Council officers on the Eternal Glory stared in disbelief. A ship that size shouldn't have been able to move so fast. Then Holt gave the order. "Fire!" The Vanguard's rail cannons roared, their slugs traveling at a fraction of light speed. One shot tore through a Council destroyer, slicing it in half as if it were made of paper. Another shot shattered a cruiser's shields and turned its engines into molten debris. The first shot changed everything. The galaxy had seen war before, but never like this. The Terran warship fought with a brutal elegance, striking only when necessary, each shot devastatingly precise. Where the Council relied on overwhelming numbers, the Vanguard relied on intelligence, adaptability, and a kind of ruthless efficiency that no alien commander could comprehend. "They're cutting through our lines," one council officer screamed. "We've lost 6 ships already." Karatha's arrogance began to crumble. "Focus all fire on that vessel. It must be destroyed." But it was already too late. The Vanguard released its quantum torpedoes, each one bending space as it traveled, slipping past shields and detonating deep within enemy hulls. Entire warships vanished in silent flashes of light. The Council fleet was in ruins within minutes. Where 30 ships had once stood, barely 10 limped away, their engines burning, their weapons disabled. The Eternal Glory itself was crippled, its command deck filled with smoke and panic. Captain Holt opened a channel for the first time. His voice was quiet, but it carried the weight of 1,000 years of defiance. "Humanity is not yours to command," he said. "If you come to our worlds again, there will be no survivors." Back on Earth, the transmission of the battle spread like wildfire. Humanity had been underestimated for too long. Now, every major power in the galaxy would know the truth. The Terrans were not weak, they were not children. They were predators, forged by a world that had never given them mercy. And the galaxy would never forget the day the Vanguard fired its first shot.